And put my hand out the window to try to block some air, and hopefully we'll make it to the next round.
He's literally showing his hand on what the plan is.
Jeb gets an opinion. It's just the wrong one, I think, in that particular case.
He's not giving up.
He did not win the race.
He's still politicking.
Yeah. He's still trying.
We should all pitch in and have a trophy manufactured. Send it to him.
Sympathetic participation
is second behind Caesar Baccarella. Let's go back to what Jeb's talking about, that wild ending in the springtime here at Talladega.
Well, and I think from his perspective, that was their season right there. That race, how close he was. He knew at the time they were in the playoffs via points, but they just knew, looking at the cars behind them, it was going to be a tough road to make it on points. They had to get that win, and to lose it by just mere inches, heartbreaking. I've been there. I know what that feels like, and it's hard. You try to justify it like he has and say, I won that race, but you didn't, unfortunately.
I will say credit to them, because even though a win is the automatic ticket and you want that, they stayed in the points game for a good portion of the regular season. So that is an organization that doesn't always have the best opportunity to do that. And their one win did come near at Talladega with Jeb behind the wheel, 2023. Jeb also won here with Colleague. A win for him today would match Martin Truex Jr. for most wins at Dega all time in the Xfinity Series.
One thing about NASCAR in today's world is I feel like we get caught up in points a lot. And we obviously sell that, and it is really important. But it's a win. And that's the bottom line for Jeb. He's won here twice before. And just to be able to have a winning season is huge.
Garrett Smithley, 8th at Daytona a couple of months ago, 6th in qualifying. Next on track, Jordan Anderson, the boss man, racing the 32. Let's go back to one of the most scary moments really we've ever seen in the Craftsman Truck Series in all of NASCAR. Truck catches on fire. This was 2022. And it got so hot in there that he had undone the belts and was getting out of the truck coming off of turn 2. Just a remarkable scene.
The heat is one thing. The smoke is a whole different level when you can't see and you can't breathe.
Yeah, 100%. And the scary part for me when I watched that was that I've had many times, I feel like you felt this, where you're about to hit the wall and you think you've bled a lot of speed, but you don't have a great perception of what that amount of speed you've bled. And he was out of that car and then hits the wall. Even if it wasn't going that fast, it was still very scary, just knowing that the perception of how fast that car could have been going at that time could have been different than what it lined up. And ultimately, it was a good ending, but very scary.
I just remember his interview afterwards. He's like, I didn't care. Like, the position I was in, I was willing to take the chance of getting out, knowing that I was probably going too fast and hit the wall. And honestly, it looked like he was going faster than he was when he hit the wall. It wasn't as big of an impact as what you were expecting.
Jordan really, really good racing in the draft. He's second in qualifying.
P2 right now at a 53.49.
Missed the top spot by 8/1000ths of a second. And look at this.
Awesome.
Got Banks over the window today, over the driver's door there today, carrying his son's name. Congratulations to he and wife Kendall. That's neat.
I think all dads appreciate that more than most, right? To get to see that, and there's nothing quite like having a kid.
Here's Jeremy Clements. He's won in the draft at Daytona, and now we go down to Dillon.
Daniel Dye was 10th here in the spring in your first Talladega start, so years worth of experience just about since then. What did you feel like you learned here in the spring that maybe had you better prepared this time around?
Yeah, I think for whatever reason at Talladega you needed to be a little bit more aggressive to pop the bubble. Our car had trouble popping the bubble, so I'm hoping our Champion Container 10 car will be as fast as Xfinity Mobile. And we were talking a little Millbridge here earlier. I don't know if that's going to do much help, but yeah, there's Chris Rice giving you a little pat on the booty. So we're going to hopefully have a little fire lit under that area and go to the front today.
If you can somehow find a way to convey what you did at Millbridge to Talladega, I'll be very impressed.
I find it shocking that there was a TV camera and Chris Rice found the background. That is just that is unheard of.
New leader in qualifying at Talladega, Jeremy Clements. P1, 50,
like he's got a radar.
41.
Oh, he likes being on the background. There's no doubt. He always shows up. Never saw a camera.
Now we're chasing him.
He loves this. He loves it.
He's in heaven. Oh, look, there you go.
This is going to be clipped and put on his Twitter in a mere matter of seconds.
Yeah, sound full on that with you two giving your commentary. Ryan Ellis in the 71, driving for Mario Goslin. You look at our bumper, and we referenced this earlier, top 10 cars from round 1 move on to round 2, so we'll keep those top 10 highlighted and keep you abreast of
His best finishes. Seems to be one.
And he's done a great job of it.
Hey, it's a strategy.
You know, everyone's got a plan, and that's his.
look at the bubble, and will put themselves in position to advance on to round 2. Ellis goes to second, 53-44, Kim.
And it has been a busy week for Brendan Queen, who not only announced he'll be in the seat of the COMPLETA Xfinity Series car for the remainder of these races, but next year going full-time racing in the Craftsman Truck Series. But let's look back at Talladega, because this is your first Xfinity Series start at a drafting track. So what did the prep look like for this weekend?
Yeah, just a lot of film study and, relying on everybody at colleague. And, their stuff's normally as fast as Xfinity Mobile at these places. So I hope I don't mess up the launch here and just, have a smooth day, really. There's so much that can happen out of your control, but hopefully I can control what I can and get us to the end and put this Action Industry Chevrolet up front.
Good luck.
Thank you.
He's been drinking out of a fire hose, guys. Hard to believe he made his first Xfinity Series start just last month.
Well, Brendan's done a great job in everything he's been in so far. It's been, I think, one of the better stories of this season, starting in ARCA and what he's been able to accomplish there, winning the championship. The time he spent in the Xfinity Series, I think he's done awesome. He's going to have a great opportunity next year in the Truck Series. He's a rising young star and came from the short track late model world, so it's cool to see a guy like him get an opportunity and make the most of it.
He's the real deal, and he's got a ton of personality. Love to see him get the opportunities, and he does the job behind the wheel, folks. So it's just awesome to see what he's been doing.
Parker Retzlaff is third in qualifying, 53-48.
Heard Retzlaff's name in some of the silly season discussions going around the Xfinity Series, so
you going to break some news here?
What's that?
You going to break some news here?
I'm not breaking any news, just hearing that his name popping around.
I miss the days of J-Ski and going in there
I was playing that for everyone.
to see the silly season happen. And
on the rumors page.
On social, you're a gossiper, I'll give you that.
Oh, really?
Sure.
Blaine Perkins, the next car out to qualify. Dylan?
Let's catch up with Christian Eckes here as he gets ready to qualify new colors this weekend. I saw Alex Yantz, your crew chief, earlier, and he said pressure's off him, so it's all on your shoulders now. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I guess so. I hope our motor shape goes as fast as Xfinity Internet today. We've always been good on the speedways this whole year, but I've had some stuff happen at the end of the race or at the beginning of the race on me, so we'll do the best we can today and try to be there at the end, but looking forward to it. Thanks, Christian.
I said Parker Retzlaff made his run, and he was a 53-48. If you go all the way over, he's a 53-483. That's the identical time of his teammate, Cesar Baccarella, who ran a 53-483. The tiebreaker here is points. So for now, Retzlaff is third, Baccarella is fourth, and here comes Blaine Perkins through the trial and back to the start-finish line, and he is fast as 53-23 for driver 31.
Pretty good lap. We're getting closer and closer to where we're at in the spring and fall of last year, kind of at that 52-50 second lap time. Starting to pick up.
Mason Maggio in the 91 this week. Best career finish came in our last drafting race at Daytona when he was 15th.
Cool looking paint scheme.
That's a wild one.
I like it, yeah. For a black car, it sticks out really well. It's awesome. I always wanted a bright car when you came to Talladega or Daytona, knowing how far the spotters are away and wanted to be unique so the spotter could find you.
That'll be a big part of the conversation today, and it played a role here in the spring, and that is when you get over on the back straightaway at Talladega Superspeedway, it is hard for the spotter, and everything happens so fast, and it's just magnified here by not just how quickly the racing unfolds, but the distance and the viewpoint of those spotters who are over here on the front straightaway.
And don't think it doesn't affect the drivers as well. When you see all these different paint schemes, right, and you're drafting and you're trying to talk to your spotter, and he might say 91 car, and it's a different paint scheme than last week, you think you almost have to learn that through the race and understand which cars am I looking at. One of the things is the best
to the bubble, the 10th position, top 10 advance to round 2. No problems jumping up there for Mason Maggio, who is now second behind Blaine Perkins. He goes at 53.350. Kim?
And Harrison Burton finished top 10 here in the spring. As we look at qualifying, people joke that, oh, even your mom could qualify a race car at Talladega. So, what would surprise people or something that's unexpected about qualifying here?
That's a good question. For me, I guess you got to stay focused. It's hard to stay focused, right? Like, you have to, almost you can get lulled to sleep, right? Everyone says it's so easy, it's this, it's that, but there are things you can control as a driver, right? And so, for me, it's remembering stick points, remembering to launch well, using the hill, coming to the line. It's all stuff that really most people could do, but it's stuff that you kind of get lulled to sleep and forget about. So to qualify as fast as Xfinity Mobile for our Dex Imaging Ford Mustang, I'll try and keep my ADHD brain as focused as I can for as long as I can, and try and have a good qualifying run.
All about the details.
Thank you, Kim. Dean Thompson on track. A lot of green for the driver, a rookie driver from Sam Hunt Racing.
If Harrison Burton's able to fall asleep in about 53 seconds of a lap, I want that ability.
You definitely are always on the chip.
I want that ability to fall asleep that quick.
Thompson crosses in second, 53.345. You know, we talked about silly season and some of the rumors that are out there. There are some knowns when it comes to Xfinity. And 2026, the announcement came, Junior Motorsports is going to split the number 1 ride between Connor Zilic, Carson Kvapil, and Rodney Childers coming over to be crew chief. Just heard from Harrison Burton, he will not return to AM racing. And how about this week, Jim Pullman saying he's going to step away from Junior Motorsports, go to RCR, and be a Cup crew chief.
Said it's always been his dream to go on and be a Cup crew chief, so good for Jim. I've known him for a long time. He's obviously had a lot of success everywhere he's been, but most recently with Justin. That'll be, I don't know about taking on Kyle Busch, guys. That's
Get the opportunity on the Xfinity Series to move to the Cup Series. It's also the same for crew chiefs, car chiefs, crewmen, everyone involved who maybe want to make that step up to racing on Sundays.
So Rodney's actually going to start Monday at Junior Motorsports, so getting an early start on getting over there. Excited for him to be back a part of every weekend with us.
Well, Rodney's got to be about to go crazy, right? Because you're knee deep in it forever, and not just doing it, week to week, but at the Cup level. And then to step aside and not have a place to go, I'm sure he's just chomping at the bit to get back in. 9th for Anthony Alfredo. Dylan?
Let's catch up with Taylor Gray as he gets ready to qualify. Okay, we've been talking about the difficulty of qualifying here at Talladega, but what is the most important thing you have to do as a driver just to make sure you get the best lap possible?
I think for me, right, just working on my launch off pit road, making sure I'm getting our tires attached and hitting my shift points is really the big key parts for me that I work on coming here. So hopefully we have as cars as fast Xfinity Mobile. Feel confident. So yeah, we'll see. Thanks, Taylor.
Taylor Gray, who missed advancing to the second round of the playoffs by 1 point. And I'm sure the drama that we saw at the Charlotte Roval we'll see again next week in Martinsville next Saturday night when we try to determine who's going to the championship. Here's Brennan Poole.
Here's a guy that's actually won a race at Talladega, but is not in the official record books for winning. Going below the yellow line. I remember Remember that that weekend? I think did Regan or was it Stewart? They got the win in the race. Yeah. Was it Regan Smith?
No, wasn't it Sadler or All?
So Sadler and All guys.
Was that
Yeah.
the two?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
You're thinking Regan in the Cup race.
Yeah, Regan and Stewart in the Cup race. That's right. Poole is 15. Let's go back to 2016. Just a wild finish here. Sadler's up there with Logano, the crash. And here comes Brennan Poole through. And at the start-finish line, he gets the checker flag, and he's won. But NASCAR goes to the tape. Caution had come out, and they determined at the time of caution.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Sadler who was leading.
It's heartbreaking.
And actually, here's Allgaier, right? Look at the second. And that was the time of caution. But they said out there, it seemed like that day forever to determine who was leading at the time of caution. And that was actually Sadler's second win, because he also won here with Joe Gibbs Racing.
How young Brennan looks right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's been 9 years ago.
Well, I'm just saying he's matured.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying anything negative at all.
Okay. Just
Kyle Sieg, 4 career top 10s. All have come in the draft.
Here's everyone's favorite car.
Super Speedway car on the track.
Super Speedways. The X-Pipes.
It should be mandatory.
It should. Why not?
When everyone used to run those, it was so awesome to hear the pack of cars come around.
It's so cool. I just love that this team continually does this.
Me too.
I don't know if it's any better performance or anything in there, but it's just so cool.
Not a great lap for Kyle Sieg. Ends up 16th of the 18 that have been on track.
Yeah, but they sounded really good doing it. So
right. Let's hear from Sammy Smith, one of our playoff drivers, Dylan.
Yeah, that's right. First of those we'll hear from here as the back half of the field gets ready for qualifying. Okay, minus 24 today. Feel like
you're in a must-win, or is it not that dire straits yet?
I don't know yet. I think it's, we were in the same hole the first round, being 24 out. So, we've always have fast pilot Chevrolets here at the Speedways, and I expect the same today. So, we're going to be aggressive, go for stage points, try to put ourselves in a position to get in within striking distance if we can't win today next week. But it also can turn very fast, too. So we'll see.
He won here last year, so that'd go a long way, obviously, today for the 8 car.
Go ahead.
A lot of nerves for all these guys on, in this playoff battle. But 24 points coming to Talladega, that can come. I mean, you get wrecked early. It's a tough day. I mean, none of these guys are out of this at this point, and this is obviously a huge day, and it's going to be interesting for me to watch how they balance, trying to avoid the wreck, but also getting stage points, because it's going to be incredibly important for those guys.
If you look at those bottom 3, minus 21, minus 22, minus 24, usually I'd say must win with 2 races to go, but with Talladega being involved, definitely not a must win. Blaine Perkins was leading in qualifying until his teammate said, you can go to second. Jeb Burton now is the fastest, 52.972, and the first driver to go south of 53 seconds on the board.
And you saw his hand up there. He mentioned he was going to be doing that. What is he doing? He's trying to block the air that's going to go in between the window net there and the A-post and just sort of try to create less drag. It may be tiny, incremental.
It may be tiny. It is tiny.
Hey, everything you can get. Everything you can get.
I guess.
Connor Mozak is out, 20th car to take time. Heard from him earlier in the 99. Matt DiBenedetto released, and Connor going to drive this car the rest of the year. You saw it on our silly season board. Raced yesterday, made his debut here. We talked about that with him earlier in the Craftsman Truck Series, finished 14th, so a little bit of added experience. And for all these drivers that get no practice, he got a nice run at it yesterday to find the rhythm of the draft at Talladega, and we'll see what he can do in the 99. And Dylan referenced Viking Motorsports was really good here with Matt DiBenedetto in the springtime.
Parker, I just always think about, if you've run, you just always put Daytona and Talladega in the same category. But I remember the first time coming here after running Daytona, you get here and even though it's not that much bigger, it appears to be twice as big. It's really wide. And just the visual inside of the car is completely different than what we have at Daytona.
It seems like an absolute sea of asphalt compared to Daytona, for sure. First time you see it, you're thinking, where am I supposed to run on this thing?
Mozak is 4th, Kim.
And playoff driver Carson Quapple enters -22. With how unpredictable Dega can be, how do you approach today's race?
Yeah, I think we just got to really amp up our aggression level. I think these guys are going to bring me a Johnny Morris Bass Pro Shops Clearance Technology Chevrolet that's as fast as Xfinity Mobile, and we just got to get to the front and support Flannel Fest for Bass Pro Shops, and just got to really work hard today and be aggressive. I think we got to really try to make some points all day and set ourselves up to win at the end.
And I think that is basically the only move sort of plan for Sammy Smith, for Carson Quapple, which is you need to fight at the front of this race like every lap is the last lap, because you need to be at the front of every stage, and that's the safest place to be. And I really think it sort of clears the objective for you. You can't be thinking about points and where you are. You just have to think, I need to be as far up as front the entire time I possibly can.
And in all the years we've come here, there's nowhere safe.
No.
You see them wreck in the front row, you see them wreck middle, and in the back. So you might as well be up there learning what your car will do. And I always like to use the races as a way to figure out who I was going to work well with. And it changes every single race. It's not like you can pick those people prior to the race. It's like you get out there and you make friends with people that you might not have been friends with before.
Talk about teammates hanging together. Next 3 cars we see will be from Colleague Racing. First of those, Brendan Queen is second in the 11. And here's Daniel Dye in the 10. Colleague's had a lot of success here at Talladega over the years. Did you know, and I may get this wrong, but I'm going to pull this one out of the memory bank.
He's going to get it right 100%.
Just say it.
First ever pole for Team Colleague came at Talladega Superspeedway. We need to confirm that. I don't know. I would guess it was Blake Cook driving.
That's what I was going to say.
Chris Rice is crew chief. Let's ride here with Daniel Dye in the 10.
I bet that you were right.
He's got his visor up. I would always be worried about getting something in my eyes. I don't know why he just forgot to put it down, or well, now he's just hanging on to the window net. I don't know that that's doing the same thing that we saw Jeb doing.
That's a different philosophy.
He's pulling it in. It looks like it's what he's trying to do there. I feel like most of the guys hold their hand up and try to block those little openings and checkered openings in the car.
He also felt like he needed 2 hands on the wheel.
Yeah.
In the corners. Not a bad decision, going to be honest.
Maybe the visor up is because he's carrying the onboard camera.
Maybe he wants us to see those eyes. Yeah.
The eyes at work. Teammate currently second. And for Dye, he goes fourth. 53.25 compared to a 53.16 from his teammate Brendan Quinn.
4 right now. Watch your tabs.
And as driver number 3 for Colleague hits the track, and that being Christian Eckes, we return to the pit lane and Dylan Welch.
And we'll catch up with Sheldon Creed. All right, given what your game plan is for today, how important is a good qualifying lap?
Yeah, I mean, would love to get this second round of qualifying and start in the top 10. I feel like our guys at Haas Factory team have done a really good job with our Ford Mustangs this year. Roush Yates engines have been great here, and have Road Ranger on board. So, yeah, hopefully make that second round, and just try to run up front all day, get max points, and try to stay ahead of the crashes.
Thanks, Sheldon. -21 coming into today for the 00.
So we're going to, ask all these guys about qualifying. Qualifying's not really relevant today for this race. You can go to the back. We all know that it's easy to get to the front. Qualifying's important for all these championship guys because that determines your pit selection for next week at Martinsville. And it's so unique how the Xfinity Series does it. I don't really agree with it. I think you should base it on that event's qualifying, but it throws these guys, it can throw you for a loop because if you have a bad run here today in qualifying, it can get you behind for that race next weekend at Martinsville.
And then when we qualify next week at Martinsville, that will determine where the championship 4 will make their selection. They'll be the first 4 to pick, regardless of where they qualify next week. But that's how things will be set up for the championship race at Phoenix. Look at Eckes. Besting his teammates, goes to the top, 52.96. And now we're going to start talking about drivers that are going to put themselves in position to advance. And I would say Eckes is going to be right there in a really good spot, maybe to be able to go on to round 2. Here's another rookie, William Sawalich, back down to Kim.
And Austin Hill sits at 9 drafting track wins, look to make double digits, including that win here in the spring. But as we look at the Talladega spring race versus the fall race, how different is it in terms of the intensity?
I would say with it being playoffs and all, it always ramps up a little bit more. But anytime you're here at Talladega Superspeedway, it's always going to be chaos. Our Bennett Chevrolet is fast as Xfinity Mobile today. We're going to go out here, see how it is, try to sit on the pole. That always makes things a lot easier for you, but things can change in a hurry here at Talladega. Track is just so wide. You'll probably see 4-wide racing at some point today. Hopefully we're at the front of all that when it's going on. But, you know, these races, I always tell everybody, like my guys, I always tell them that all these races race a little bit differently than the next. So we really don't know what we have until we get out there and start racing. You don't know what the draft's going to be like, how the air is going to affect the car. There's a lot of different variables, so we just got to be on top of that all today and try to go back-to-back here at Talladega.
That's a great point from Austin Hill about how every superspeedway race is different, and there's so many factors that line up to it. Whether it's like you talked about, Jamie, where for one reason, you know, one race you might work with a certain individual and think that was a great pairing, let's do it again, and for whatever reason your two cars won't line up and work together that next race. And there's all the environmental factors: wind, the heat on the day, the different changes in the tire, whatever it is, different changes that teams have made to their cars. Every race has its own personality, its own rhythm. It's so different, and so you can't play any one or any two the same. You always have to figure it out on the day, and I think that's very astute from Austin Hill to point out, considering how successful he's been at these. He's basically saying you can't run the same playbook every single time.
Well, and there's nobody that has more confidence coming to any of the drafting style racetracks than the RCR, you know, group of he and Jesse Love. But with the success that Austin's had, I mean, you mentioned guys having it circled. There's no doubt he has all the drafting tracks circled on his calendar.
14 cars to go in qualifying. The first of those, Harrison Burton. And I know it says it here on our bumper, but want to remind everyone, our tracker is going to 10th, and those drivers are going to try to make their way above that cutoff line and advance to the second round. And Harrison going to find himself on the outside looking in as he comes back through the tri-oval, hits the start-finish line, and his lap puts him 18th. Ryan Sieg going to be next. Ford's going back-to-back, and you know, you think about the opportunity in the draft and strength in numbers, and Chevrolet's just been outstanding at Talladega, winning 12 in a row. But when you think about the Ford camp and the need to work together, they got some really good drivers when it comes to the draft, and one of them is this guy. 5 career runner-up finishes, 2 of them coming here, and well, you just get the feeling at the end of the day he's going to be a player, and was second in this race a season ago.
And I wouldn't be too worried about the qualifying pace of the Fords. We saw Harrison Burton there in 18th. So far, as we look at the bubble here, it's close to making the top 10 for Ryan Sieg. For whatever reason, the Fords race really well. They seem to draft really well. They can sort of break the bubble that you've heard Daniel Dye talk about in this qualifying session and push. They're really good pushers. And so if you can get aligned with a Ford, it usually means you can go towards the front a bit. And I think it's why you see them have so much success, especially late in these races where they're just able to race really well, maybe not being the best qualifying pace.
I don't think we gave the proper love to William Sawalich. We were doing some business there when he went to the top, so he leads 52.95. Sieg going to complete his lap. He's right around that cutoff point. He ends up 12th, so he will not advance. Mentioned Sawalich is leading. Next car we'll see will be another driver from Joe Gibbs Racing, Taylor Gray in the 54 as he gets up to speed. Let's go to Dylan.
And we'll catch up with Justin Allgaier. You are plus 44 today coming into the cut line. One, is that safe? But two, what's the objective for you guys today to accomplish?
Safe is, I don't even know if that word exists other than having a win. But, you know, I'm really proud of everybody at Junior Motorsports to get to this point, to have that big of a lead. I mean, that's why you work really hard in the regular season. So we got a great-looking pumpkin, Brent Freshner Agriculture Chevrolet. You know, and in this racetrack, I mean, typically we haven't qualified the best here historically. But we've raced really well here, and we've had a shot to win multiple times over. So, you know, the goal today is to go out there, earn some points, try to build on that 44 points. And if we could go to Martinsville next week, it won't matter if we're as fast as Xfinity Mobile or not. We're going to go there and have a good time. So that's the goal for today: finish the race, get good points, and you know, hopefully walk out of here with our heads up and knowing that we got a shot at going to Final Four in Phoenix.
Thanks, Justin.
I referenced Taylor Gray getting up to speed. And that didn't last long, coming back down the pit lane now. What's happening there, Kim?
Yeah, had to throw away that lap. Taylor got on the radio and said transmission issue. Jason Ratcliffe, the crew chief, called all the crew to the garage, said, looks like we're going to have to change it, so likely transmission transmission change for the 54.
It's crazy, today's world, and everything that goes into building these cars. That, I mean, you know, they've got a brand new.
You're trying to.
Well, we were going to listen.
Yeah, I heard a rev up where it basically went to a neutral there. You know, sometimes you hope that it's not. You know, there's always the possibility. We talk about maximizing your shifts, right? A missed shift there, that sort of thing. But I don't. From what we saw there, one thing I've had happen in qualifying, actually with a Joe Gibbs Racing motor, was I broke the main shaft getting up to speed as I went through the gears.
That's so powerful.
Yeah, you know, it was all me. And that is something that can happen. And we talked about, look, you don't run these cars till you get here in qualifying. So that's maybe something you would have found on the first time going out to practice. But this is essentially practice and qualifying all condensed together. And it puts that team a little behind. They have to go to work. And it's unfortunate, but that's just, you know, this modern day format is what you might run into.
From one rookie.
Drafting was aggressive all night. Seems like he hasn't made a tremendous amount of friends, but you got to appreciate the fact that he's doing everything he can every single weekend, and he's not scared to ruffle feathers.
And I like that. I appreciate, you know, someone who says, hey, I'm going to do what I think is right for me. At the end of the day, this is competitive sports, and there's only one person that's going to look out for you, and that's yourself. And if you stand your ground on that, hopefully it'll come your way.
As Sanchez starts his lap, we go back to Kim.
Yeah, and as we think about Connor Johnson's run in the spring here at Talladega, a little bit of a double-edged sword. Yes, you were injured, but it kind of lit a fire under your butt, and you started this run, and now you're on 18 straight top 5 finishes. Are you optimistic that can continue here today?
I am optimistic, but anything can happen here at Talladega. But really cool to have First Bank Alabama on my car today. First time for me, so hopefully our Chevrolet is as fast as Xfinity Mobile, and we can have a good day and keep my top 5 streak going. That's the most important part.
Been a crazy run. Average finish in those
18 races since he had the crash and broke his back here at Talladega. It's 2.1. And the summertime and into the fall and the playoffs been remarkable for the rookie driver from Mooresville. Pretty decent lap going here from Sanchez. Going to put him in the top 10. In fact, right at 10, 53.35.
So he'll have a hard time advancing to round 2. 10 drivers to go. They're all a part of the championship.
Whether it be the drivers or the
pushed him to that. That was Ryan C. That 39 car is a Ford. For whatever reason, they're really good, but he did a great job on that day, controlling the field late when it mattered, and that's one of the hardest things to do. You don't get a lot of experience with it unless you're Austin Hill, and that is when you get to the front of the field, controlling those lanes, especially at Talladega. You know, Daytona, it's really controlling 2 lanes. At Talladega, it can be 3 or 4 lanes at times that you're trying to sort of control and time perfectly as the leader, and he did a great job of that.
Well, and in order to make that work, you have to get a little bit lucky. You know, you have to hope that the people behind you make decisions that benefit you. And everyone knows that. I mean, there's certainly the same people do a great job at these type of tracks each time we come, but there's a little bit of luck that's played into that, and it's not just what you do, but it's what the guys behind you do.
I'd rather be lucky than good. Anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right.
Sammy only led 5 laps in that win. And if you go back, that was in the opening round.
So that a year ago when he won here, got him into the round of A. Now this race takes on a whole new meaning. You win today, you're going to the championship 4. Smith slots in 4th, going to have a chance to advance to round 2. Top 10 move on. And now we have 9 drivers to go in the opening round of qualifying.
Do the math. William Sawalich is locked in to run for the pole. Here's our second playoff driver on track, Carson Quapple, in the 1 for Junior Motorsports.
Really big day for him, I feel like, for this race team. You know, just knowing how good the Junior Motorsports cars have been this year. They showed a lot of speed on the super speedways as well. It's not just been the mile and a half to short tracks and the road courses. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, yeah.
And, you know, I think for him, it has been a disappointment not to get to victory lane this year. They're still in the championship equation. You know, talking to that race team, knowing there's going to be changes next year. His schedule is changing. The best thing this race team can do is simply find a way to be a part of that championship four and go to get to victory lane. And I think today is a massive opportunity for them here. And I feel like Bass Pro Shops cars, Jamie, have good
Well, they have good success here, yeah, for sure. It's a bright car, you can see it, and you mentioned his season. I mean, he can turn even what he's going to have next year all around in the next few weeks. If he's able to get to victory lane today, go to Phoenix and have a great day, I mean, it can turn really fast. Everybody's expected him to get to victory lane this year, and he still has a few opportunities to make it happen.
Walker, second playoff driver to qualify, and he jumps right in front of his teammate. Fourth for Carson. Sammy Smith drops to fifth. 52.98 for driver one. Brandon Jones, a winner in the playoffs, advanced to the round of 8, claiming
Feel good about, you know, seeing where William is at, being first right now, being able to make this next round. You see he's already up 1/10 of a second down the backstretch. And the best part about Talladega, Parker, is that typically once you're tracking the right way, it never slows down. And, you know, unless you get a massive gust of wind, he's in pretty good shape.
It just compounds the whole way around the lap. And, you know, for Joe Gibbs Racing, they historically didn't qualify well at these super speedways. It seemed like they lacked that single car speed. They could race well. And then last summer at Daytona, they showed up and they were really fast in qualifying at Daytona. Ryan Truex went on to win the race. And ever since then, they have definitely learned something, because I look at William Sawallich's speed, the speed right here from Brandon Jones, and Joe Gibbs Racing has really found what they need to be faster in single car speed at these super speedways.
Yeah, and I feel like in general, if you talk to the Toyota group, they feel like they're a little bit behind on the engine side, and especially
always. But I see this and I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Brandon Jones to third, and that will be good enough to confirm that he will run for the pole and advance to the second round. Let's go to last week. They just had a horrific start to that race, and this is a team that hasn't scored a ton of stage points in the postseason, but they have just gotten their cars better and better over the balance of the run. 2 top 5s in the playoffs, 11th the last couple of weeks for Sheldon Creed, and he comes in to today's race at Talladega 21 below the playoff cut line.
And you had the stats earlier, Adam,
yeah.
But I've got stats.
Oh,
did you know Sheldon Creed has a 7.3 average finish in the playoffs? Second only to Connor Zilisch. But what does this team need to get playoff or stage points? They only have 11 stage points, the fewest of the playoff drivers. He's got to go make it happen in the stages.
You said it during the race at Vegas. They tend to always get better, right? And that's been the trend for them. I think the crazy part for me is that when we talked to him before the race, they thought they were great in practice, and it's just like it wasn't translating to the start of the race. But obviously they're doing a good job adjusting on the car and having the right strategies and getting results. But they definitely got to pick up, you know, unload or being better at the start of the races.
Probably not going to advance to the second round of qualifying. 10th right now is Sheldon Creed. And you notice in our bumper, all of these playoff drivers highlighted in blue. And the last 10 drivers we'll see today are part of the championship equation. The 8 in the drivers championship chase. And then those 2 drivers still alive in their teams for the owners championship. One of those, Austin Hill, who won by that much in the springtime. 9 career victories in the draft.
And they're able to capitalize on it. I don't know if it's quite trending that way right now. It's not. I mean, we'll see what we thought. Let's give it some time. Let's give it some time.
You just got to get to the second round and make a pole run, but a lot of times what you see in the opening round does translate to round two. I will say, RCR has been an absolute qualifying juggernaut at Talladega, and tell you what, I would say a bit of a disappointment.
Look
for Austin.
That gives the field hope. I think there's a bunch of crew chiefs right now that just knocked their engineer and their owner on the pat them on the back and said, "Look, we did it."
They're
21.
so close though. 52.95 in first to 52.98 in sixth. I mean, look at that. 95, 96, 96, 97. It's so close for all those guys. You got to hope that you come in. I think him getting to go late is a little bit of an advantage. The car will still be, hot. The wheel bearing grease, the rear end grease, all that stuff being a little warm is going to be a little bit of an advantage for these guys that go super late.
Top 5 in our bumper, locked into the second round of qualifying. 5 cars to go. First of those is Sam Mayer. His teammate Sheldon Creed has already made his run. He is 11th. Running really close to what his teammate ran not long ago.
The interesting part, though, as you look at this, is that Austin Hill has just slowed down. That isn't necessarily that all these other guys have gotten faster. The last 2 races we've been here, it's been like a 52.50 has been the pole time, so really consistent. The last thinking the handling could be more important. Who knows?
Looks like Mayer's going to have enough here to jump into the top 10, but could be borderline if he's able to advance to the second round. 53.19 puts him 9th, and we have 4 cars to go in the opening round of qualifying, and next out is going to be Jesse Love. Mentioned the fact his teammate is 6th, and he's done what his teammate has done here, and that is win at Talladega. First career win, springtime, last year as a rookie.
Yeah, this lap that we're getting ready to see, to me, it's, he's been on the pole the last couple of times we've been to this track. We know how fast RCR is. It'd be interesting to see if he can run something similar to those times that he ran here the last 2 races. Yeah, look at that, another different approach to the window net. We've seen Hannah pull forward, lock the front. We got this guy pulling it forward. We had Daniel Nye pulling it in at the front. Everyone's got a little different madness to what they need to do with the window net.
I was going to say, everything you were saying about Austin Hill and maybe they just slowed down, I was like, well, we still have the 2 car.
Yeah, that's right. Let's take a look and see what Jesse Love is. Today, well, this is again, this is going to be in that 52.50 range that we talked about. Yeah, not quite. 52, maybe the next run could be down there, yeah.
His teammate's already locked in for the second round, and Love will go on to the second round as well. He's top of the board, 52.79.
I thought he took his helmet off real quick. How about you guys? Like, that was a trick. Wow. Your face for a second.
3 cars to go in this opening round of qualifying. The first is our reigning champ, Justin Allgaier, never won at Talladega. And last year, boy, that huge crash here.
Oh gosh, huge impact where that wall sticks out. I saw that in the mirror there. I thought we were lined up to go win that stage. Yeah, I got Justin Allgaier behind me. I'm like, let's go. And then suddenly, where's the 7? I look in the mirror and I see that. I was like, oh no.
So that's the final lap of
the stage. Yeah. Yep. See his frustration getting out right there, knowing his day was over. It was a mistake, on his in that sense, and just car got away from him, and it's just, you hate to do that, especially these super speedways and early, because you just feel like, hey, you just want to stay in it, and he was lined up in a good spot.
He comes in to this race 44 points above the playoff cut line, so got a really, really good chance to advance to another championship 4. If he does, that would be his 8th trip to the championship 4 to run for the title. He's made the playoffs every year we've had this format, 10 for 10, and each time he's made it to the round of 8. So he just knows how to get it done in the postseason. And a pretty good lap going here, going to put him in the top 10. 8th means he will advance to run for the pole. 2 cars to go.
It's just incredible how close all these cars are, and then you see Jesse Love, 2/10 ahead of the next.
Go back and look at how that race ended in the spring. Connor Zilich is out front. And before this happened, we were just learning so much about his growth process and, how good he could compete in the draft, something he had little experience doing. But got turned on that final lap, and that hit that just takes your breath away in the inside wall.
Well, no matter how many times you watch the safer barrier get hit and you see that massive square steel tubing deflect and the foam compress, it's incredible. And I'm telling you, as a guy that lived both sides of that, it still hurts to hit the safer barrier, but it's such a different hit than hitting just concrete. The concrete's almost like a sting, or that safer barrier is almost like getting hit. It still hurts, but it's like a rubber hammer.
2 playoff drivers not going to advance to the second round of qualifying. The teammates from Haas Factory, Mayer 11th, Creed is currently 14th. Junior Motorsports trying to advance all of their cars, and they've been so good in qualifying lately, sweeping the top 5 positions. Zilich goes 8th. That knocks out Queen and puts Sammy Smith on the bubble with 1 car to go in the opening round, and it's last week's winner, Eric Almirola.
Incredible battle he had at the end. Zilich lost the handling of that car late. You see him, the side drive we talked about, just being out of control, but Eric, they have their car right, but it needed to be, and was able to get the win. And as we head into today, we talk about how good Austin Hill is at drafting racing. This guy right here is as good as well. He's been exceptional his whole career, and I was a little concerned because I just didn't know if they were going to have the speed that we've seen out of some of the Chevrolets, but knowing that his teammate Sawalich is second right now, we'll see what Eric and the 19 team are going to have. That makes me a lot more encouraged for, we might have a great battle with Austin Hill today, and you can't just give it to the RCR guys knowing the speed that looks like the Joe Gibbs cars might have today.
I think you mentioned Eric being so good on the super speedways and coming from the Cup side of super speedway racing, which is one of the most intense things you'll ever do in your entire career, racing in the Cup level of super speedways, and then coming here in the Xfinity and having fast cars. He takes so much experience of knowing how to control those lanes, seeing the moves, seeing the bad moves, knowing when to react, when not to, that it just sort of, the equation adds up to him being at the front of these races every time he has the opportunity.
Gonna have a chance to go for the pole today. Almirola through the tri-oval and back to the start-finish line. Gonna put it on the board 9th. And so Allgaier will be the last car in. Sammy Smith knocked outside the top 10. 3 playoff drivers don't advance Sammy Smith. The teammates from Haas Factory, Mayer and Creed. Jesse Love puts us to round 1.
Pacific.
It's a great weekend to be a NASCAR fan. Talladega Super Speedway, the place to be. Qualifying for the Cup cars. True TV, 1:30 Eastern time today. Coverage for the Xfinity race, NASCAR Countdown Live, happens 3:30 Eastern time on CW. Carlin Metz leading the charge there. And Cup teams take to the track tomorrow, 500 miles at Talladega on NBC, with the coverage starting at 1:30 Eastern Time. Round 1 qualifying done for the Xfinity Series. Here are the drivers that move on to run for the pole. Jesse Love, the best of the bunch. We got 5 playoff drivers that move on. Sammy Smith, Sam Mayer, Sheldon Creed do not. Getting all tuned up and ready to go for round 2. And we'll have it for you coming up next. It's the NASCAR Xfinity Series on CW.
That second round, is there enough nuance in what you do during a qualifying lap at Talladega that you can best your first round?
Yeah, I think there's always just a small amount that we leave on the table, right? I mean, there's a little tricks of the trade, I guess, here and there, right, that the drivers know that they can do. Just about all about nailing your shift points and really maximizing your line. And I know most drivers sit here and say that it's really on the crew chiefs and engineers to get their cars right, and I think a lot of it is, but there's a lot a driver can do here as well to maximize the lap. So I'm just thankful that we have Little Hug on board and Homeworks and Menards. I hope to get them a really good result today and not have to go into Martinsville worrying about it, right? So this is always one of those wild card events, but looking forward to this one this afternoon, and just gonna have fun with it.
You have a little hug for me? Oh, very nice. All right, Dylan.
Jesse Love was fastest in the first round of qualifying. Everybody's super close. Where can you find a little more to back up that lap in the second round?
Yeah, just hold it more wide open, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, there's some small things that we can do from the driver's seat, but not to gain a bunch, but to gain a little. Luckily, we don't need to gain much, so just let Danny fine-tune a couple things, and we should be all right. So should have some good track position to start the day. Obviously, our car's, as usual, is fast, Xfinity mobile, and I feel like we have a good shot at having really good points today that are locking ourselves into Phoenix next week, or 2 weeks. Thanks, Jesse.
It's going to be tough for anybody to outrun the 2 car because they're all going to pick up, about the same amount. But the one thing that I would keep in mind is you look at the lap times from second all the way down to 7th. I mean, it's like 300ths of a second. That will shift because some of those guys are going to pick up a small amount more, and seeing that there's 5 guys in the playoffs and knowing about the pit selection next week at Martinsville, this next round is going to be really important for those guys. For a sport where you're supposed to lose a lot more than you win, a 50% win rate, that's pretty exceptional.
And it's not just the sport. I would say you magnify the meaning of that in the draft. Yeah. Look at average finishes. They're always terrible in the draft unless your name is Jesse Love or Austin Hill. By the way, Love here, 3.3 average, I think is pretty good.
I try to just focus on what I would do if I wasn't worried about the big one, right? What position am I going to put myself in? What spot am I going to put myself in?
Do you need to be aggressive? Do you have the ability to lay up a little bit and maybe put yourself in a position to not get in the big one?
It's tough. I mean, you want to position yourself up front to where you hopefully are in front of the wreck.
With the spotter, they have to paint this picture of what's going on the track and giving you the information to let you make the moves that you need to do to win the race.
Still in time. 2 out. Hold, go for it, dig hard. All right, you're clear. Stay on the gas here. All right, cautious.
Spotter at Talladega is everything. It kind of leads you, I would say, driving the car without actually driving it. Just, making moves, seeing them before they happen, and trying to tell the driver so they can go ahead and expect that.
No doubt, spotter's going to be big here today.
Use all the senses. You got to use your audio there. That's the spotter telling you. Use your visual senses, using the mirror, looking ahead. Even smell is something you'll use as a driver at a super speedway. You smell tire rubs, that sort of thing, tires touching each other. It kind of gives you an indication. Maybe there's a wreck incoming. That's all the thing you'll use.
My sensors are telling me now it's time to go to the break.
Okay.
Because
you want to cut me off.
Producer said 1.
We can make little differences inside the car. One of the things you can do off the pit road is you might think you want to go out like this, right? Well, what a lot of drivers will be looking at is the SMT and sort of data to show if you went more like that, it's more distance, more time for the car to accelerate, and basically allows you to hopefully get a better run. As you watch Justin Allgaier here, look at him. Look at that. Thank you. Who's a genius right here?
Right over your yellow line.
That is the tiny little things that teams will look at as what the driver can do differently to try and get more speed out of that car over one lap.
I was rooting for him to go straight.
I knew you were. I knew you were. I was too. I'm like, it would be amazing if he went way left right here.
Thank you, Justin. I appreciate it, buddy.
So our second round of qualifying, 10 guys that moved on will go slowest to fastest based on the time they put on the board in that opening round. Allgaier went 53.12. Here's Jim Pullman.
And I think if you, Jim, I was looking at him talking to you.
You can call me Jim.
Well, yeah, I'll talk to Parker and Adam. If I had to pick, when you want to go out in this round, you'd want to go late in the first and early in this, just because everything is all still really hot, and knowing how close all of those drivers were, to me, this will be the biggest advantage.
It definitely can be, and then I've also seen times where it slows you down.
Well,
which defies science, but it happens.
I think Jesse Love's still going to be okay. But if you had to pick, I would take what the 7's got here, going out early.
Usually, what I think a lot of teams look at of this second round is, hey, can I at least back up what we did? Right? You just don't want to see the car slow down.
It better not slow down.
It's a bad indication. It's something you might say, well, what happened there? Why did that happen? If you run roughly the same time, that's usually a good thing. If you pick up, that's a great thing.
You'd love to start, on the front 5 rows, and all these guys are going to do that, obviously, by advancing to the second round. But the other big portion of this is, and it's what Jamie talked about earlier, is what today's qualifying session does to help you in regard to pit selection next weekend at Martinsville, where things will be big on the short track there, and it's a very, very tight pit road.
Ooh, huge pickup for Allgaier.
From 53.12 to 52.83. Jim helping out there.
Wow, 0.3 he picked up. I would think a 10th is probably on the average what we're going to see. So, yeah, that was a big lap for Justin.
That goes to your theory.
Well, you drew the lines and I told the story.
He followed my lines, your story. I mean, it's perfect.
I have nothing to offer, if I'm being honest.
Well, you count us down, Adam.
You got good stats, usually.
Eric Almirola, last car out in that opening round of qualifying. Second car here. Mentioned how good he is in the draft. He's been the playoff spoiler last couple of years. Multiple playoff victories, 2024 and 25, and we know he'll be a part of the Owners' Championship equation in Phoenix with that win he had last Saturday night at Las Vegas.
You call him a playoff spoiler? I feel like since he went to Joe Gibbs Racing Xfinity Series post-retiring from the Cup Series, he's been just sort of the spoiler whenever he's on the entry list. Every driver's like, no, we got to race
spoiler.
We got to race Eric Almirola in a Joe Gibbs car. Darn. It's just you think you're going to have to battle against him if you want to go win.
He could make it 4 in a row. Won last week, really good in the draft. He won both races at Martinsville last year, won Phoenix earlier this season. I mean, you look at the schedule. It sets up great for driver 19, who's having the time of his life, running part-time. And this lap going to go on the board at 52.83 compared to a 53.027 in round 1. So
look how close they are.
1/1000th of a second.
Wow.
2 different race cars for 2 different organizations, 2 different manufacturers. Right. All the differences you could possibly come up with. 1/1000th of a second difference.
We talk about all the little things the drivers can do inside the car. From the seat, when you get to the backstretch, Connor right now at start-finish line, when he gets over the backstretch, Talladega is known for those 5 massive flags that are in turns 3 and 4. And what you hope for is this wind that blows directly down the backstretch. That's the fastest wind that you can have at the track. So as he exits here, that's one of the things you do is you look up and you just kind of get a sense of where where's the wind blowing, which direction is it. Based on my first run, is that going to help? If they know the lap time pickup that both Allgaier and Almirola had in that first round, hoping you get to have that same. You see there's those flags down there in that end.
And those flags are massive, and when you see them way up, it's like, oh no, that's a big wind. But one of the other things you'll notice as a driver is just for the RPM. You'll know sort of the RPM level from the first run, and you might see a little bit more down the backstretch. You're thinking, oh, this could be fast.
Could be a good lap.
That's my indication. I like this.
How about this? 1/1000th of a second separating first and second. And Connor Zilic right there. I mean, he was in the red, goes to the green, and now to the top. 52.814. So just a little bit better. 24,000ths of a second faster than his teammate Justin Allgaier. Last time we raced in the draft, Connor Zilic got the win with an assist from our man Parker Kligerman. Take us through what's happening with you and Austin Hill here.
Right, so right now we're controlling the bottom of the 7 there. Don't work with the 21 right there.
He might have been saving up a little bit from round 1 to round 2. A lot of green for driver 21. one down the back straightaway. We talk about the success of RCR when it comes to qualifying at Talladega and in general in the draft. Had that graphic in our last segment. Jesse Love, quickest in the opening round, and this is the first sight of an RCR Chevy here in round 2. Austin Hill bringing it back through the trioval and all the way down toward 1 to the very uniquely located start-finish line right there. He's fastest, 52.78.
Just a tick faster than his teammate went in round 1. So they found a little bit more speed in that 21 car. I think, to your point, Jamie, a little bit of knowing that some of the things that the 21 focused on for years, which was qualifying at pace, outright qualifying pace. I feel like this year we've seen them be a little bit more pedestrian.
Concerned with it.
I think, to your point, they're more concerned about the race and how that car handles and making it sort of break that bubble in the draft, which Austin has been asking for, and therefore they sacrifice a little bit of that raw single-car speed.
I will say, though, this is what we have to sink our teeth into right now, that big qualifying, and there's no doubt you want to control the race. But the reality is, if you go back to the springtime, there was a big portion late when you felt like Austin Hill just wasn't going to be able to get it done. Yet, and already we're analyzing it. So, a whole lot of cards going to be played between now and the checkered flag later today. Pretty good lap going here for Carson Kvapil. A lot of green for the rookie driver through turns 3 and 4.
It's interesting. You see most of those guys kind of be up, and then through 3 and 4, it's like they lose a little. You got to think that's based on just the way the wind's blowing right now, or what's happening on the track. They all seem to gain a little bit. He's actually losing right there as he comes back down towards the start-finish line. So close, though.
It's going to be so close.
Teammates are second and third. They'll now be third and fourth because Carson Kvapil leads the way, 52.765.
Right now. Good job, buddy. Good job, everybody.
Halfway through the second round of qualifying.
Optimistic crew chief there. I like that.
Andrew Overstreet, pretty pumped up right there. He knows how important this day is for them.
Maybe a little upset special later today. Would it be an upset if
I don't think so.
won here? Nope. I mean, he's won here twice, but he's driving for Jordan Anderson Racing. I could go both ways with that. I love an underdog. And I feel like Jeff Burton kind of plays that role a little bit. Some would just call him the dog, not the underdog.
I love that nickname for him this year. And at the super speedways in particular, it aligns with Jeff Burton's attitude, the way he races, how aggressive he is at these racetracks. He will be one of the more aggressive pushers in the field if that car gives him the chance to do that. It just seems like when he has a car that can break that bubble and push, he will be the one doing a lot of the heavy lifting in the pushing category of pushing on race cars and trying to get to the front.
I love that he's got the commitment to blocking that window net, not letting off all the way, all the way around the corners. It's harder than you think to hold the wheels steady with just one hand. See, he does a nice job. You can tell where the bumps are on the track as you see the wheel move back and forth.
Tracker's close coming to the tri-oval. He was like 4 thousandths off, and now it's starting to drift a little bit. Still going to be a good run. Third for Chet Burton, 52.79.
So it's kind of been our first upset of the guys, like not continuing to go faster with everybody out. And again, it's just because of how close all of those cars were. They're still within 200ths of a second from Kvapil down to Jeb right there in third. I can't get over how tight all of that is with all those cars.
I think it means it's going to be a great race. When I see this many cars from different organizations, manufacturers so close together.
Hey, here's something else to think about today. We reference so much what happened here in the springtime. Brandon Jones is now the first of the last 4 to go. But we reference what happened in that spring race. Spring race here at Talladega, 300 miles. Today is only 250. And so you take that final stage and you squeeze it down, which means in the final stage you don't have to make a pit stop. Once you get your service at the end of stage 2, you are good to go. That really takes some of the drama out of what you'll see in the final stage, but it adds to the fact of how do you play strategy leading to that last run of the race. And so we talk about how good this race is going to be, but it's really going to have a different look than what we had earlier in the campaign.
Brandon Jones coming to the line. We'll see where he stacks up based on what he had earlier today in practice. 52.86, only about a 10th pickup, so it's part of the reason you see him not advancing as far up on the leaderboard as what he was in that first round.
And Adam, to your point about that difference of this distance difference to the spring distance, I think in a lot of ways that can make the third stage even more intense. Track position matters more.
I think without a doubt.
You don't have that stop to worry about. You just have to go. And one of the things you'll find at Talladega is when you get later in the race and it gets 3 and 4 wide, if you're sitting 3 or 4 rows back, there's nowhere to go. You get stuck. So you've got to fight for track position earlier than you think, because you might think, oh, there's all these laps to go. I've got plenty of time to get back up the front. But then the track is essentially blocked and there's nowhere to go at that point. So you've got to fight really hard to get that track position to put yourself in the right position late.
I guess I was just thinking about the element of green flag pit stops and the drama that creates, and managing all that, being with your teammates to make sure you have a drafting partner when you come off, and the merge back together when
definitely more
one
complex.
group is at a high rate of speed and someone else is getting up to speed. A whole lot to monitor there. So Carson Kvapil leads, trying to get his first pole. Actually, let me back that up. Carson Kvapil is leading, and I talk about Colleague in their first ever pole, and I want to confirm it was 2017 with Blake Cook right here at Talladega Super Speedway. Chris Rice was the crew chief, and it's perfect to mention now because Kvapil's leading no more. Eckes to the top, 52.70. He leads with 2 drivers to go.
You gotta feel bad for the guy we put on camera when he knows he's gonna get beat. You see him trying not to act deflated as that crosses the line right there. Still gonna be a great starting position for Carson, but obviously not on the pole today.
It's all part of the show.
One thing that's popped up to me is that the Toyotas haven't had as big of a pickup in the second round as what we've seen. Obviously, all the Chevrolets have. It's like they were really good on that opening round. And maybe William will be the outlier of the Toyotas. You look right there, Brandon Jones and Eric Almirola being the last 2 cars in line here, and just did not have as big a pickups as what the other guys had.
Williams going the right direction here.
We're trending the right way for sure.
It's been just such an interesting mix of teams, manufacturers. Look at the Toyotas and the Chevrolets and what they've been able to do. Eckes leading now for Team Colleague, non-playoff driver. Another non-playoff driver here, another rookie in William Sawalich. Been on a run of top 15 finishes as William, and really has picked up the pace late in his rookie year.
I'm telling you, the fact that they're within a thousandth of a second.
By 7 thousandths of a second, Sawalich to the top with 1 to go.
I had a feeling because
P1 again. Nice work.
down the backstretch, he gained so much on the straightaway, lost it in the corners, both sides, but then not on the straightaways. For whatever reason, that car was really quick. So.
I have a feeling too right now.
This one is going to go faster?
It's that this one's going to be in the green probably about the time we get to the start-finish line all the way around.
Hey, before he goes, look at the top 5. 5 different organizations represented. You got Sawalich Joe Gibbs Racing, Eckes from Colleague, Junior Motorsports and Kvapil in 3rd, Austin Hill RCR, and Jet Burton for Jordan Anderson Racing. That's pretty cool.
I'll tell you what, if I were the teams and they're watching the same thing we are, I would be interested in why he pulls on the back of the net versus some of the other teams you see in the front. And then obviously it's whatever they've learned in the wind tunnel or the theory, but this car's typically always the fastest. You see right here on the bottom of your screen, 10th up and heading down the backstretch right now.
It just keeps going.
Yeah, it's going the right way.
What's the old commercial? I want to be like Mike.
Yeah,
in this case, I would do what Jesse does. It seems to be working.
Yeah.
Just a blistering pace.
I don't know if the hand placement is adding to a 10th faster.
No, probably not.
Sawalich won the truck pole here last fall, but he's not going to get the Xfinity pole today. He'll start on the front row, but to his left is going to be a man chasing the championship, and that is Jesse Love. He wins the pole at Talladega, 52.605.
Good job.
Is just over 182 miles per hour. It's his 9th career pole.
Denny Stockman felt like it was almost formality. We got it, bud.
It wasn't near as exciting as Andrew Overstreet was.
By the way, we have a few affiliates taking our coverage today. We will drop off there at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, but our coverage will continue, including an interview with the pole winner on the CW app. So if you're watching on one of our affiliates, We'll see you later today for NASCAR Countdown Live, and you can join us for the rest of our qualifying coverage on the CW app at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Here's how they line up today. 38 cars here. They all make the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Big day, for Carson Kvapil. You talk about trying to make it to the championship 4. Great run for him. I think you just got to look at Jesse Love and Austin Hill. You see row 1 and row 3. Those two guys would be the ones to beat.
And I think the Toyotas did show up. They didn't really show up in the second round aside from Swalwich, but they did show up. Brendan Queen, Butterbean there, row 6. That's going to be interesting to watch him experience super speedway racing. I look at Sheldon Creed back here in row 8, Sam Mayer. Those guys know they need to have big days.
Look at row 9. You got Mozak there. You got Sanchez back there. All through the lineup today. Look at this page. I mean, we know how good Jordan Anderson is in the draft. Harrison Burton, Honeyman, career best. Ryan Sieg. They're everywhere when you look at the starting lineup.
And as we continue down, each one of these drivers, just know, has a chance today. And unfortunately, Taylor Gray there, who didn't get the make-a-lap transmission issue, they had to go fix that.
His crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, who was able to lead Joe Gibbs Racing to one of their 5 wins here, came with Kyle Busch about 15 years ago. So we remind you, NASCAR Countdown Live on CW, 3:30 Eastern Time today with Carla Metz as we get you ready for the second race in the round of 8 from Talladega Super Speedway. We'll stay on the app as we say goodbye to our friends watching on the TV side. We'll catch you for NASCAR Countdown Live. Thank you for being with us. Enjoy your Saturday afternoon. And now we continue our coverage of qualifying for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Talladega Superspeedway. We're on the CW app where Jesse Love has won the pole for today's race. Kim?
That's right, Adam. We'll lead the field to green later this afternoon. So you've got track position to start. What challenges, though, lie ahead for you and this team?
I'm not sure. Obviously we got a couple welcome cars up front, so just use that to our advantage, obviously. And our car's is fast Xfinity Mobile. That always helps, and having the track position makes it a little bit easier for the first few laps. Have a couple less gray hairs by the end of it. So, yeah, looking forward to today. Obviously, we need to get stage points. It's kind of priority number 1, and hopefully we can either be mathematically locked in by the end of it or win our way in. Either way, would love to take next week at Martinsville off and just focus on Phoenix.
Jamie was interested in your technique there with the window net during your qualifying lap. What led you to kind of choose that versus sticking a hand out the window or maybe pulling it into you?
I don't like drag, so trying to take as much away as we can. But no, just again, those are some of the small things you can do inside the car. Other than that, it's all about these ECR engines, and these J-Born Chevrolets are really, really fast. So just proud of our guys for bringing another fast car to Talladega. Grateful for Wheeling to get them another pull here, some more TV time up front, and looking forward to today.
Front row start for Jesse Love in the 2 car. Dylan?
And it's also a front row start for William Swalwich, best of the Joe Gibbs Racing cars in the 18 today, starting second. How do you take the speed that you had there in qualifying and translate that to the race today?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it drives good in traffic. That's always what you want here. But obviously we got really good speed right out of the gate in qualifying single car, so can't thank the motor shop enough. We've been hunting for some speed on the super speedways ever since Daytona this year, and every time we show up here we get better, so super thankful for them and all that they do. We had a good Sound Gear GR Super that's capable of doing something tonight.
All right, field is set, Adam. Time to go racing later this afternoon.
Pretty incredible. Jesse Love, 4 starts here on the front row every time, including 3 poles. He does that 3rd pole here today. And RCR becomes the 2nd team to win 7 consecutive poles at a track, joining Team Penske at Watkins Glen from 2011 to 2018. Here are the standings as we get set for the green flag.
I think we got a couple of guys that feel fairly safe on here. Obviously, Connor Zilich, LS82, Allgaier is in pretty good shape, but the rest of them, Parker, gonna be nervous too.
Oh, yeah, full offense, and I think that's the only strategy for most of these drivers who are thinking about points. You just have to try to be at the front, stay at the front, and fight as hard as you can to stay up there as long as you can. I think for Connor Zilich, interesting decisions for him. Do you make blocks? How hard do you race? That'll be interesting to see.
And Jesse Love starting on the pole, controlling this race, comes in 20 above the cut line. Huge opportunity to get a whole bunch of stage points. How will it play out? NASCAR Countdown Live on the air, 3:30 Eastern Time. We'll see you on CW with Parker, Jamie, Dylan, and Kim. I'm Adam. Thanks for watching. Congratulations, Jesse Love.